In today's lesson, we're going to learn all about the alto clef and how to read the notes of the D major scale and Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Welcome back. Welcome to the studio. My name is Cassie and I'm a professional violist and teaching artist. I hope these lessons will serve as a guide for the absolute beginner violist or even those of you who are a little bit more experienced. So today's lesson is all about alto clef and how to read those notes. So our first video today is going to explain the alto clef. Have a look. I'm going to explain the clef first, and then we'll get to what all these lines and spaces mean. At the beginning of any sheet music that you ever get, you're going to have a clef. And viola reads alto clef mostly. Sometimes we read treble clef. So alto clef will always have a thicker line, a thinner line, and then this really fancy looking 3. And basically what this is it tells us what the notes are for the lines and spaces that we have here. Now there's 5 lines and there's 4 spaces, and these comprise the staff. So if you think of your hand, if you hold your hand up in front of your face, you've got 5 fingers with 4 spaces in between each of those, and that's kind of the origin of the staff. We're going to go over the line notes first, and these are notes like F here that has a line going through the note head, which is that circular part of the note. So we've got the note head and the stem. So there's 5 lines. The lowest one is F, second line is A, third line is C, E, and then G. And you can call these by number. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's also another reference point that you can use. This middle C is on the 3rd line, and if we scroll over here, the middle of that fancy 3 is centered on that 3rd line. So this is a reference point that you can use. If you forget everything else, just remember that the 3rd line is C, and you can go above or below that to get whatever note that you need. Next up, we have the space notes. These are notes that do not have a line going through the note head. They are between 2 lines, so we call them space notes. My lowest one is G, 2nd space B, 3rd space D, 4th space F, and this one sits right on top of the staff, but I included it because this is our open A string. We're going to use this as a reference point as well. If I put all of that together, starting on my lowest line F, I'm going to climb up to the next space, G, and that's just like the musical alphabet. I would just go 1 note higher, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Once we're on G, we have to cycle back to A. So the next line higher is A, space B, line C, etc. I do have a mnemonic device to help you remember what the space notes are. Good, boys, do, fine, always. So it's a sentence that we can say to help us remember from lowest to highest what those space notes are. For the line notes, I don't really have a good mnemonic device. I just say face egg. Maybe that's easy to remember from the lowest to the highest. Now that we know the basics of the alto clef, we're going to look at notes that lie above or below the staff that we have to indicate with ledger lines. Check out that video. If we take our open A, we have a lot of notes that are higher than that can't be written within the staff. So I need to add these small lines to indicate that a note is higher. So after open A, which is a space note, I need a line note, and you'll notice that the ledger line has gone through the note head, indicating that that's 1 note higher for B, 1st finger. My next highest note, C, is going to sit on top of that ledger line, and that's our 2nd finger on the A string. Now I need another ledger line added because we've gone above. That C was sitting on that space, so we need another line. And then our highest note in 1st position is E with 4th finger, and that's going to sit on top of that 2nd ledger line. Additionally, there's times when we have to write notes below the staff, such as our lowest open string, C. So we've added 1 ledger line here to indicate that that note is lower than the staff, and that's our open C. Then my next highest note is a line note, D, that's 1st finger on the C string. E is the note just below the staff, and F is our 1st line. I've also included G here, which you can play as an open string note or with your 4th finger. Now that we're comfortable with the notes that lie within the staff and the notes that are above the staff, we're able to read the D major scale. So let's look at what it looks like first, and then we're going to play through it together. We know what the D major scale sounds like. Now we're going to see what it looks like on the page. Our first note, open D, sits on the 3rd, 1, 2, 3, 3rd space. It's also just 1 note above that middle C line we talked about. 1st finger E is on the next line higher. We've got a high 2nd finger F sharp on the top space, 3rd finger G on the top line. And those are all the notes on the D string. After we go from the third finger G on the D string, we're going to go to our open A, which sits right on top of the staff, first finger B, which is our first ledger line above the staff, high second finger C sharp, which sits on top of that ledger line, and third finger D, which has 2 ledger lines above the staff. Let's play through that scale now. Hopefully now when you see the D major scale, you'll be able to identify the notes a little bit more easily. The other song we learned in our last lesson was Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, so we're going to have a look at what that looks like on the page first, and then we're also going to play through that together. Here's our sheet music for Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and again, all of this is available on Patreon. If you check the link in the description, you'll find it all there. Remember, our first note was open D, and that's on our third space. We have 2 Ds, 2 A's, which sits right on top of the staff, B, which is first finger on the A string, and then open A. Here's another new symbol. This is a quarter rest, and it's equal to 1 beat of rest. These are quarter notes. They're equal to 1 beat of sound. After that rest, we've got 2 G's, which is third finger on the D string, and that's on our top line, 2 F sharps, 2 E's, open D, and a quarter rest. Here's another new symbol. This is the repeat sign. So this is the open repeat sign. I'm going to look for the close repeat sign at the end of the line, and that tells me I need to repeat back to the beginning of the line. So this was our contrasting B section that started with open A, 2 G's, 2 F sharps, and 1 E. And then we would just repeat that whole line. A, G, G, F sharp, E. This is back to the A section, so it's just like the beginning. Open D, A, B, A, and here's your challenge. What notes would these be? I hope you said G, F sharp, E, D. Now we're going to play through the song, and we're going to have the notes highlighted as we play them. So find playing position, and let's get ready to go. Open D, ready, set, go. If you'd like additional practice in reading notes in the alto clef, I'm going to include an exercise below from musictheory.net. This is a really wonderful website full of exercises that you can customize, and I've made one just for us so we can practice reading the notes that lie below the staff, on the staff, and above the staff in first position for viola. Thank you so much for joining me today. In our next lesson, we're going to learn about rhythm, what it looks like, and how to play it. I hope you're enjoying your lessons, and I will see you at the next one.